It's the All Birdies No Bogeys podcast, your weekly disc golf analysis podcast right here on JomezPro. I'm your host, Brian Earhart. Nate Perkins joins me from the Tour Championship in Lynchburg, Virginia. And I got to come clean about something. This week, last big tournament of the year, I was a fair weather disc golf fan. And I'll explain why. I drove up Tuesday night to go aid Nate Perkins in doing on-course duties for this tournament. I was going to do the FPO. He was going to do the MPO. We were going to do this podcast in person. It was going to be great. I had 2 episodes of Catch that I was going to film. I was going to help Nate with the presser. Life was going to be good. I wake up Wednesday morning to a flurry of text messages from my wife saying that our house was flooding and completely submerged in water. And everything was ruined, essentially, is what I got. Come to find out, something in the plumbing failed, and our floors were completely destroyed. It was soaking into our foundation. All of our floors had to get ripped up. It's being worked on right now. It's going to take about a month for all this, demolition and reconstruction to happen. And so we're essentially going to be out of the house starting tomorrow for an entire month. And we're kind of trapped upstairs. We can't really use the downstairs area right now. But I had to rush home and I couldn't do any of the shows that we had planned. Had to sign off on a bunch of paperwork. And it's been a bit of a nightmare for the past few days. So I have not really thought too much about disc golf. I have watched a little bit of the highlights. I watched a little bit of the final day. But for this episode, Nate Perkins, who had to fill in for me in the FPO division and the press conference, is going to be the storyteller here. Nate, sorry. A little bit of a catastrophe.
Such a catastrophe. I'm so sorry that happened, and my heart's really been with you since you shared the news with me. It's crazy because I was just staying at your house. I was there for six nights, and what you guys have cultivated there is a real sense of home, and the way that you exist there is you guys are just so peaceful there. So it really upset me, obviously, you're my homie, and to hear that your entire bottom floor of your home flooded, it's tragic. And I do commend you for the way that you've been handling it, though, because it's easy to just totally derail you, and you've been handling it great. And really stepping up for you and Lindsay. So great job there, man. Because
thanks, bud.
That really is a nightmare.
Yeah, it puts a lot of things in perspective. Like I'm just grateful to even have this house. I'm grateful that my life has led me to this place where I was able to have you and AJ come over and stay with me. That's like a dream come true. We sleep on floors for so long. I tent camped for a lot of my first year in 2018. And to be able to now be one of those hosts, yes, and bring people into town and show them a good time and make them feel like home, make them feel like they're at home is a wonderful thing. And you know what? We'll figure this out. It's just funny. Mainly my mind is always on disc golf. 24/7, that's all I'm thinking about. Some sort of Frisbee-related activity. And now I'm thinking about insurance and money.
No.
And our emergency fund. I'm done.
Stop.
Nate, exactly. Yeah. You be the storyteller. I'm going to sit back. What went down this week?
Yeah, I'll do my best, Brian. I'll start with the shift to move the Tour Championship away from Charlotte to a new location. From a logistical standpoint, it's tough for the tour and tough for the players, right? We're in Charlotte for USDGC, and we don't have to go far to play the next tournament, right? It was a benefit to the end of the year. It was like you could just set up shop in Charlotte. So to move it was tough, but it kind of made sense because the USDGC has such a big draw for fans. It's hard for them to commit to, hey, I'm gonna pay to go watch 4 days of disc golf here and then do the same exact thing a week later or 2 weeks later. It just doesn't make sense. So we weren't getting a lot of spectators, and the event didn't have the same feel that we're looking for one of the tour's biggest events, the biggest payout in disc golf history for many years, and moved it up to Lynchburg, where they had the World Championships last year. So everyone already knew that the venues were legitimate, that New London Tech and Ivy Hill were going to be great places to host the event. We got we doubled the amount of spectators or more than we got in Charlotte. And yet the event still has this different feel because the entire field isn't there. So I show up for FPO and it feels like a ghost town, because normally there's hundreds of people in just the players alone, and the community that they bring with them. So it has a different feel to it. So from the player's standpoint, it's interesting because they have to kind of manufacture the pressure and the focus that you need to play at a high level. And the first 2 days of the tournament, they're playing one of, I don't think it's but one of the hardest courses of the season in this new design at New London. So there's just this interesting dynamic where the spectators eventually showed up, and much more so for at the Ivy Hill course into the weekend. But on Thursday morning, it's like 40 degrees. FPO's teeing off at 9 a.m. It's frigid. Everyone's got like hand warmers, gloves on, like everyone's cold. There's not that many people there watching, and there's just not that many people warming up. So it had this eerie and different feeling than any tournament all season long. And the course was just a gauntlet. It's beautiful. 14 brand new holes compared to the world's layout that we saw
Wow.
last year. So we already know what to kind of expect with what that setting has to offer, with like the density of the woods, just how beautiful it is, how much you can kind of get that immersive feeling when you enter into those woods there. And we definitely got that feeling again. And I think even more so with what Paul Macbeth did with the redesign. He designed 17 of the 18 holes out there. And the challenge that they presented was 10 out of 10. I really feel like it's up there with the Monster and Northwood Black. It's just a course that is going to have that reputation for difficulty for years to come. There's just so many moments throughout the rounds there that it forces you to throw high level shots through tiny windows. And so that's a style of golf that I think myself and you and a lot of the fans here
Oh yeah.
can really appreciate. And to be honest, it's hard to watch in person if you don't have a great seat. Like
Mhm.
if you're not standing right behind the tee pad, or right behind the basket, really it can be hard to see some of the shapes out there. And so the best place to see it is on the network, or on the post produced coverage on Jomez, because the stuff that I went and rewatched back on the network, it looks incredible. Like the whole course just shoots amazing. Day one, Lisa Fakis shoots the best round of her career, 7 under, bogey free, and Missy shot like, I think 5 over. What she shoot day one, Brian? She shot like 5 over. Felt like she shot herself out of the tournament. Missy Gannon shoots 5 over day one. Fakis shoots 7 down. Silva shoots 4 down. So the lead card day two is Silva, Owen, Hall, and Lisa. And Owen kind of struggled a little bit, and Holland kind of struggled with her emotions a little bit. So it really felt like Silva's tournament there, even in round one, even though they were still tied at the top after the round one. And then round two, Missy ties the course record that Lisa had just set the day before. Lisa totally fell out, and Paige gets herself into the mix. Silva also ties the course record at 7. So she has 6 strokes going into Ivy Hill, and just kind of felt like the most dominant player out there. And it was really off the tee and shaping the fairways. She wasn't perfect on the putting green and wasn't really connecting on every circle to make, but it was really just her ability to continue to hit gaps that separated herself. And for her to have 6, it kind of felt like FPO was like almost not going to be a show for a moment, especially with the predicted conditions of round 3 being like ultra calm. It just felt like it was Silva's tournament to win. And she gave the field some strokes back day 3. Let's see what she shot day 3. I can't quite recall. Today was
She shot +2 on day 3.
such an
Yeah.
incredible day. Yeah, she struggled. She started off back-to-back OB strokes, birdie the third, and then Silva just has no, like, I don't know if it's no fear or sometimes just not the right amount of, like, she has no gauge on when is the right time to try and sink this like deep putt and make a statement, or when is it just time to lay up. And I think that does a couple things for her. A lot of the times it helps her obviously make statements and peel away, but sometimes it just derails any momentum. And she ran a putt on 4. You probably remember hole 4, Brian. It's like a Nate Heinold special. It's that hole that's downhill the whole way, straight toward the pond, and there's a hay bale in front that's like at 28 feet, and it's nearly impossible to stick the green. You know which hole I'm talking about?
Yes, the
They're like
Heinold special. The way you described it is perfect.
it's like I don't know what he wants the players to do, because even if they skip short of the hay bale and skip over, it's everything was still running long. And if you went OB long, you're going to a drop zone, which is at 50. And if you hit the front of the hay bales and stay, which is a really hard shot, you have like a 25 footer for par from the hazard. And so the hole was just giving people trouble all week. We're flying it here on Jomez for those that are watching on YouTube. And if you're listening at home, it's probably 25 feet downhill. It's like a 330-foot shot, maybe. And OB the whole way, you're actually flying over hazard. And like I just mentioned, it's just impossible to stick it. So everyone was essentially going OB every time, and most people were just laying it up. I mean, legitimately, Brian, everyone, Paige, Holland, Missy, they're like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna ace run it, and if I go deep, I'm just gonna lay up, call it a 4," and they're not thinking much about it. Silva, I felt like really derailed her round with going for it there. She had already missed 2 putts and misses that one from the hazard, goes OB, barely makes her putt coming back, takes a 5, and momentum's kind of zapped after that. And then Paige Pierce and Holland have a good round. They both shoot under par. I felt like Pierce showed a level of focus and patience that we haven't seen from her in some time. This week, Brian, what Paige showed me was, you know how she's been going quick with her routine, like the last like almost 2 full seasons. You remember, Brian, how she used to hold her discs out in the air on the front of the tee pad and like
Oh, yeah.
stare down her line for a bit, and then she would go back, and then she would do a practice swing, and then she would go back. It was like for 10 years that was Paige Pierce's routine. And then something post COVID switched, and she just started getting up onto the tee pad, not doing any of that, and throwing her shot. She started wearing headphones, and her kind of moments in between all of the shots just started to really speed up. And I felt like her game suffered for years. I don't know if it's directly because of that, or if it's because of some of the mental stuff she was going through that is why she was quickening her routine. But whatever it was, it wasn't the same Paige Pierce when it came to being in contention every single week. And this week, it changed completely, and especially the final round. Pierce felt like the favorite to me. She felt like the most focused. She felt like she had the strongest mental approach to things, and there weren't a lot of shots that were making her feel uncomfortable out there. The power that she has still mid 30s, the power that Paige has is still at the very upper echelon of the field. And so she was putting herself in a lot of positions where she's going putter into these greens, and she was living and dying by this fierce putter that she has. She has one blue one green one. This shot on 9 that we just saw, she made the correction during this final round, glides the putter in there from 300. But this next one that we just watched on Jomez, she threw it OB left, Brian, and she had a little, maybe a little under 400 or right at the 400 mark, and she goes fierce. It's like slightly downhill into a head left to right, and Paige throws her putter. I mean, what do you make of that? What do you make of Pierce going putter into the green on 10 to get up and down for the
Well,
par?
it's one of those things that is possible if you throw a perfect shot. It's a long shot, but clearly she's done it before or has
Yeah,
thrown a similar shot. But when you're faced with that, and then you have the headwind mixed in, you're kind of stuck between what's comfortable for me, what do I know, what disc is doing exactly what I want, and what is the right shot for this lie. So sometimes when you see a player like Paige lean on what's familiar, I don't question it because
yeah,
all she's telling herself is put a little bit more angle on this, throw it a little bit higher with the nose
yeah,
down. It's going to correct itself and fly downhill just fine. So
yeah,
I think it's fine, but I think it's a situation where a few different things would have worked.
yeah.
What do you make of it? It sounds like you really don't like the decision.
No, I was kind of, there were some spots throughout the round where I felt like she was forcing it,
Mm,
and it, and she was capitalizing. Like she was making it work. She had this big uphill shot on 8, and it was a pretty strong tailwind, and I just felt like the fierce was not enough disc, and that she was going to have to throw it too hard to fight to get uphill and to not let the tailwind slam it down. And there was, so I'm on the broadcast and I'm like, I don't love fierce here. She parks it. And I'm on the broadcast again and I'm like, wow, she's really throwing fierce here. Parks it. And seriously, I did it one more time and she parks it. I'm like, okay, I might be giving up on this. Trying to frame this as such, right? This is maybe not the right disc for this moment because she's 400 feet away. She's still going putter. But it was on the 13th. That's the shot where they have to clear all the out of bounds. And then they have this uphill shot with a big cedar tree. It's low ceiling. And then you have these golf tees, traditional golf tees, that make the floor kind of rise up as well. You know the
yeah,
shot. It's
the
a little
terraces. Yeah,
slot you have to throw through. Yeah, the little terraces. And Evelina threw right in front of her, throws this beautiful mid range on Annie that just like slices through the slot up the hill with the tailwind too, making it even harder to get the height right. And she just parks the hole. Paige is a little in front of Evelina, and she's going putter again. And again, I'm on the broadcast, I'm on the ground, and I'm actually getting to call it live again. And I'm like, one more time, I'm like, she's going fierce here, and there is just no way to get this putter up the hill. Like you have to understand that there's tailwind, it's going to slam your shot, and there's not enough ceiling, not enough floor. You have to throw it too hard, and she rips the putter over, and it cut rolls immediately OB, and she takes a bogey, and all of a sudden Holland's got 4 strokes with 5 to play. And not saying that I was right, but Pierce was really living and dying by that putter. And I think if she looks back on it, she might question some of the moments, and that's going to be one of them. And I know things get so fast out there, and you know, she's won and lost so many tournaments over the years. She's probably going to forget about it quick. But what I'll close with about Paige is it's great to have her back, and it's great to see her in her mid 30s pushing the limits still and finding that focus that got her 17 majors and 5 world titles, and still out there just slinging discs, just cracking 400-foot shots and hitting big putts. It was great to witness, and she pushed Holland to play one of her best, most clutch back nines of the year, or of her career, really. She forced Holland to clutch up and get redemption on the back nine that she crumbled at the World Championships. And honestly, Holland's been like an emotional and mental wreck out there on the course, and she was able to draw from a deep, deep well for this tournament. After interviewing her round 2, it still felt like she didn't really trust what she was bringing and was kind of an emotional wreck. And it's impressive to see someone that's clearly going through something, on and off the course, and is still able to stay persistent and to show up on this final day and have really a career performance, Brian.
I have to give it to her. She got to a place where the moment she stops being in contention to win, we're wondering what's wrong with her.
Yeah,
And we
that's
got
it.
that way with Paige. We got that way with Kristen. And I would say that Missy's in a similar place too. But Holland, talk about consistency this year.
Yeah,
She is probably not going to win Player of the Year, but she
yeah,
did win the points. And I have to say, this has been a phenomenal year for Holland Handley. And the
yeah.
fact that she had some tough personal stuff happen earlier in the season, I think Ledgestone was when it happened. For her to bounce back from that and play as well as she has, that's something she's going to be proud of. But also, she knows what her job is, and it's not good enough. And that's what I like about Holland is, again, we joke uh, together about her mentality, having Coach Holland and Player Holland, and having to take care of Player Holland with her Coach Holland personality. But I think it's paying off. I think she's finding the part of her that's deeply competitive, that's kind of wild in a sense, and she's learning how to rein it in and keep it disciplined when things don't go her way. And I don't know. I have truly enjoyed watching her grow as a player. I think this is still just the beginning for her because of how seriously she takes her job. I think this year the thing that's come along the most is the clutch putting when things get nervy,
Yep,
and the touch.
yep,
The putter touch has gotten
yep,
so much better. I did an episode of Catch with Holland this year, and
yeah,
she was just throwing dimes with the catch lid. And I don't think
yeah.
she would have been doing that a few years ago. So uh, I can't wait to see the career evolve. FPO is in a very interesting place right now, and I think it's right there for the taking for anybody.
Uh-huh.
And Holland's right there with everybody else.
Yeah. No, it's well said, Brian. I think what you keyed on with the expectations, I think that's exactly it, right? We all expect her to be at the top every single week, and that's going to undoubtedly weigh on someone. And I spoke to her about that, in the interview, and she opened up that it actually has been pretty difficult to manage, and that she even puts as many or more expectations on herself than all the fans do, and it burnt her out. She was telling Missy and Paige that she was ready to go home like weeks ago, before Throw Pink. And yeah, it's impressive, and to do it on the back nine that cost her the world title a year ago. I mean, you mentioned the touch, and this is actually on the ninth, but she had thrown it OB round 3 left off the tee. She made that same mistake, threw it OB left, and that green on 9 just kind of runs away. There's a lot of greens out there that are just running away. It's kind of maniacal. Some of the holes out there that you just it's the difference between being parked and OB 30 deep is almost nothing. It's 1 degree of nose up or flat or just a few 1 more mile per hour. And the ninth is one of those. And the day before, she had kind of sailed it deep, left herself a putt, missed it, took a number. Today, she was in the almost same exact spot and found the touch with the putter and just put it just pin high left without any luck. Just the perfect amount of speed. And to actually touch on that further, on the 6th, she threw it OB deep, goes to the drop zone, another maniacal green. If you remember that one, it just is downhill running away. It's so hard to stick. Drop zone, there's like a really strong tailwind. It's 18 miles per hour. Paige is 30 feet deep, safe, putting for birdie. Holland is throwing her 3rd from this impossible drop zone and takes her time, goes full swing, slows the arm down, pops the nose up on the fierce, and it's just slowly, slowly cruising, pin high left, makes the putt, gets the 4, only loses 2. Like, if she sails that long, she's putting for a 5, likely missing, tapping in, triple bogey, losing 4. So that was a big moment. The ninth was a big moment. And then she rattles off birdies on 14, 15, and 16 and sealed the deal. The door was open. She walked through. She hit some clutch putts, like you said. And there's just no doubt that she's the most athletic player in the field
Mm-hmm.
that we see consistently. There might be some other athletes out there that we don't see often, but she has she is leading the field in control at distance, and she's leading the field in her prowess with the forehand power. She's There's not too many FPO players that can do more with the disc than Holland can in general. Evelina, the Finns, Henna, they can do some things with the disc that she can't. But Holland is going to be the force to be reckoned with. And she's, what is she, 29, 30? Where's Holland at?
Something like that. Yeah, she's still.
Yeah,
I don't think
she got
she's
into
into
it
her
pretty
30s
late.
yet.
She's not well into her 30s. Yeah. So we're going to be seeing Holland for potentially another 7 or 8 years, and she'll be in her golf prime for majority of those years. So it was great to see her win today. Tour Championship's huge, 30K. You could tell she was pretty lit up. She's like, I don't know what I'm going to do with that. And it's an incredible moment. And it's amazing what the Pro Tour has done, being able to celebrate the game like this and to celebrate these players, because I think that's what it's really about, is they're hooking the players up. 30K for first. Paige got 15 for second. Those are insane numbers. Shout out Sophia Donica for coming back and beating Missy Gannon in the tournament, beating Evelina Sullivan in the tournament, taking 4th place, 1 back of Silva. Silva had a birdie the 18th to get 3rd. It was 4th place by Sophia. Career moment for her. She got 7,500. That's nasty. She's got the New Zealand cat Henry Pearson on the bag. Yeah, it's good stuff, Brian.
Well, Nate, I appreciate you being the storyteller here. Normally, I'm locked in on every round, even if I'm not on the course. I've been bopping around to different hotels. I've been dealing with
No
insurance.
worries, man.
I've been trying to figure this whole thing out here, but I caught in almost its entirety the final round today for MPO.
Cool.
Finally had a moment of solace to sit, pop the broadcast on and watch. and I was at the edge of my seat. I felt way too many emotions during this final day. There's a lot of chatter about what went down out there. I have a couple of opinions on certain things and how they went down and how they played, but I'd love to hear it from your perspective.
Yeah, so should we talk about any of New London for MPO, or do you want to hit
Well, what
right
do you
into
think?
the
Mainstay?
Goose?
Is Champions Cup there going to be amazing?
So I was just talking to Jeff Spring, and he said that actually Champions Cup is 4 rounds at Ivy Hill, which
No!
I was I was kind of
No!
I was like, did you mean New London?
Eh.
It's 4 rounds at New London, right? And no one wants 4 rounds at Ivy Hill. I mean, don't get me wrong. I had a good time out there. And honestly, the spectators have a good time.
Beautiful course.
Spectators aren't having as good of a time at New London, even though it's a better course because it's wooded. It's this ultimate catch-22 of disc golf. It's like we want to play in the woods, but it's hard to showcase the game in the woods. So
Calvin drilled a guy.
paradox. Did he actually?
Nailed him. Nailed a guy.
He did? Where?
Yeah. I forget what hole it was. There's a clip that's being circulated around. He definitely got that guy. He's okay though. I think he's okay. It wasn't as
Wow.
bad as Double G back in 2011. I'll never forget that shot at the Memorial.
Wow.
I could hear it through the screen. The guy's skull get
Oof.
cracked.
Oh
But
no.
anyway, we'll talk about that
Okay.
at
Well, I,
another time. Go on, Nate.
well, New London, man. Again, what Paul Macbeth did with a completely different piece of the land, they made an instant, memorable, like, infamous wooded course. It For the men, it's incredible. There's probably 10 holes out there where if you can't throw like upper 60s, low 70s miles per hour through like a 6 foot gap, you're not going to be hanging around, right? If you're not like cracking the disc with confidence, you can't even really play for par. Like you can't like play safe through a gap that is requires you to throw 380 to get to the landing zone, right? There's just no playing safe. You got to throw through that gap. And New London forces the players to do that right off the gate, right out of the gate, hole one. You have to get after it, and you have to land the disc pretty flat, move it left a little bit. Approach was super difficult running away. Hole two is this gorgeous par three that their highs are flipping, but if they flip it too flat, it'll run into the tree line. And so they have to get the speed just right. And it's like 40 feet downhill. Beautiful par three. It actually might be my favorite hole in the course. Three was a classic with the OB on the right. So they're having to throw like 400 feet with OB right, wood line left. Great hole. And then four, again, it's just Calvin and Goose, day two. Calvin's throwing an eagle like as hard as he can and piping it and landing the eagle flat on the downslope to then throw across into the island. And Goose goes onyx and just throws it as hard as he can. 100% power, like he did all week. Cracks it so clean that he flies Calvin's eagle in the air and straddles the OB line that's like 450 feet away through a 4 foot tunnel. Like unbelievable stuff. And I'll brag on Goose a little bit more because he threw 4 shots during that round that I think will take years to be beat. Like he threw another onyx on the 13th, and he again threw it as hard as he could, and he threw it at the back wall flat, and then it doesn't break until it gets 300 feet out there, and then it just takes a sharp turn to the right, and it basically reflies down the second half of this fairway of this impossible hole that no one was really birdieing. He's 80 feet past the next closest people, and in the clear, in the center of the fairway, He did that on 11. He threw a flick around the corner on the 8th. And Sexton, myself, Doss, Terry Miller, they're just in disbelief, right? He was doing things on that course that no one's obviously never done. We haven't played it a lot, but people aren't just going to be recreating that stuff for a while. So it was incredible to see Aaron play through the woods like that. Calvin shot the 9 day 1, which everyone was oohing and on over. Luke Taylor actually shot that course record day 2. We didn't see a lot of that. I didn't see a lot of that, but he kept it clean. I'm going to double check. No bogeys, kept it clean, shoots the 10 down. But more importantly, people in the mix, Ezra Robinson and Aaron Gossage both go 9 under par. They tied Calvin's record from the day before, of course, get bested by Luke. And they're taking control of the tournament. Going into Ivy Hill, Calvin's got 1 over Ezra, 3 over Goose, and 3 over Kyle Klein. And then round 3, Isaac Robinson remembers that this is supposed to feel like a major. This is supposed to be a major, and he shoots a 12 under par with 2 bogeys. 12 under par
on
with 2
one.
bogeys.
Started the day off with a bogue.
Bogeys on 1. He tries to throw this turnover, and it just like stalls out in the tailwind and goes OB, and he has to basically rethrow the shot. So he went into major mode and took command of the tournament. Calvin shoots 6, didn't really putt that well, some putts into the cage, a lot of OB out there. Goose played really well to stay in the tournament. Got their first 5 on day 3, and they were just gaming. They were kind of leaving the field behind. I'm gonna double check to refresh my memory. Paul Macbeth, Eagle both shoot 11, but the storyline remained that Sunday was supposed to be like this terrible storm, that it was supposed to be 30-mile-per-hour winds, that we were going to get rain, and the sky was going to drop out, right? Similar to what we just had last Sunday at Rock Hill. There was just this looming doom ahead of us. And so it felt like there wasn't a lot of room. If you were far back, there wasn't going to be a lot of room to catch up because it was going to be windy, right? So it kind of felt like it was the lead card going into the final day, and that really ended up being the case, right? It didn't. There weren't too many people on the chase that were even in the picture.
Well, I was watching the final round, and I was very curious how these conditions were going to play out for these guys. And Aaron, like you said, was hammering the disc. And this is what he does. This is his whole play style with the backhand. And I love watching him hammer the disc through the woods now. It feels like his shot shaping is just improving year after year, and he still stays at that really heavy speed, that heavy power. And I don't know. He has one of the most unique throws in the game. I haven't seen tech disc stats from him. I would have to believe he's got some nose up. He's got a 2-finger power grip.
2-finger. Do you know anyone
like
else that does that?
No, not that is as good as him.
Yeah.
But the stabilities he chooses are because of the way he throws the disc. He's just worked everything around the way he throws so well. And when you get to a course like this, that plays to his advantage. You don't have to overshape the disc out there at Ivy Hill. You have to control your geometry. You have to hang the hyzers at the perfect width. You have to pick, where the disc is going to skip, how fast it's going to skip. And you have to control landing on certain shots. But it feels to me like some of the greens on that course, Ivy Hill, are wanting you to land the disc exceptionally soft. Yeah. But because it's very difficult to throw that shot that lands exceptionally soft, a lot of guys are like, screw that. I'm going to go for the dice roll. I'm just going to throw the hyzer with the stable disc into the green, and I don't care what happens.
So true.
And when the wind picks up, you get a ton of dice rolls because no one's going to try to get all cute with the flippy disc and helicopter it into the green. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
That's an element of course design that I enjoy. But on an open course, you have to be very mindful of where you do that, because otherwise players are
Yeah.
just not going to take that option. But there were some times when I felt like the players could have opted to throw a little bit softer landing shot. They didn't, and it kind
Uh-huh.
of burned them a little bit. But I want you to walk us through what you saw for the lead
Yeah.
card. And
Yep.
again, there was some chatter about what went down out there, and I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, excuse me. I've been attacked out there by the allergies. I'm not sure what got me this week, but so starting this final round, the wind arrived right away. It felt like it was going to be unplayable. It felt like it was going to be one of those days that it's not even really fun anymore. It's just an endurance test, and it's not fair either, because it felt so windy that it was like, if this person gets a gust at this time, the shot is completely ruined, and it's just going to either get slammed or turn into a kite, lift, go 100 feet left. It felt like one of those days, like it felt like Emporio wind, where that this can't stay in the basket, even like it's going to get blown out. And fortunately, that didn't last that long. As we got through the fifth, you kind of go into you go behind a big hill, and the wind was coming from the south on the other side of that hill. So we got a little protection from the wind. And then we were actually in an interesting part of the storm where it was calm. Like the front side of the storm brought wind. And then as the storm kind of moved over us, it was calm. And so from hole 7, no, it was a little windy on 7. Hole 8, up the hill, 9, 10, like through like 15, it was relatively calm, which it made it a fair test. And it the rain held off, and so it actually ended up being a nice day. And yeah, just a legitimate test. It felt like the wind didn't take the tournament away from anybody, which I felt like it could have at one point. And so Goose started off pretty wicked. His ability to throw the forehand on one is incredible. Like, he was underneath the tree on the right side and just hammers 450 worth of power, parks the hole, absolutely parks the hole, and gets hole 2. Calvin goes deep there, so he pars it. Isaac lifts into the headwind there on 2, which was ripping. He hits the band from like 18 feet. So Goose gets the birdie there. All of a sudden, Goose is tied for the lead. He started off back 2. Goose hammers it, absolutely hammers it on the 3rd. And he had a terrible wind on 3, ripping right to left. He goes flick, and it felt like he was playing it safe, but he puts it to 20 feet and then has a difficult tester on 3. And that was the moment where we were all wondering what version of Aaron Gossage we were going to get in this final round. What putter was going to show up for him? He cashes the putt. He's going with the straddle putt right now, Brian. Like a wide straddle, a straddle pitch. I can't really compare it to anybody's putt. It just looks like someone who has really gone through a lot of different styles of putts and is just working it out. And he was making this putt work this week. He was pitching it, but it was also driving it with a lot of spin. So it was all hyzer. And I honestly, going into the day, felt like his putt was at a larger disadvantage than Calvin's, and certainly Isaac's, because of the way that it's on hyzer, so it's exposed if there's crosswind, but also because of the element of the pitch he has. I felt like Calvin's is also a little exposed in high winds as well, because he's going super nose down pitch a lot of the times. so it's getting slammed. And Goose connects on the first putt on 3. And then somehow goes Spike Heiser, sticks the green on 4, miracle green flag, and Isaac and Calvin are both out of bounds, right? Calvin sinks his from the drop zone after making a putt on 3 from the hazard. So Goose has gone 3 down on the first 3, pars the 4th, and then Calvin sinks it from the hazard on 4 from like 45 or something, and in like incredible
55.
wind. 55 is that what it said on the 4th?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that checks out. That's pushing even the drop zone. I think it was just a little in front of that, but either way, it's like he had gone OB on 3 of the first 4 and was still sitting at par. And 5, they're all just ripping. And this is another moment where Goose just absolutely annihilates the disc. I don't think anyone had birdied the hole that day yet before Goose played it. And Calvin rips it way up there, but he's far left. Isaac and Ezra both throw it into the middle. They're both like 450 up there, but Aaron just hammers it so hard. It's up in the air. It's pretty flat shot headed toward the tree line, and he throws it 80, maybe even 100 feet past where Isaac Robinson and Ezra Robinson like mash their drives to. And he put it in the perfect spot to throw the flick, and he flicks it up there. And he's the guy, Brian. Like, he's the guy to beat. He had already made some putts. He made the putt on 3, and he's the man to beat, right? 6 is playing hard. Somehow Calvin puts it to 45, makes that putt there, but then Calvin doubles the next hole, gets a weird wind lift, doubles the next hole. And another spot that Goose really separated himself was his ability to throw far enough in a spot like hole 9 that he's able to go slow speed into that green. And that was just a massive moment in the round. I don't know if you saw that. I think he's going Buzz OS, I think is that disc that he's hammering. It could be zoned.
Buzz OS or
But
Swarm. He also, what color was it?
it was like a light purple. It's like a lavender.
I think it's a Buzz OS.
Yeah, Buzz OS. It makes sense. And he throws the flick to the far end of the landing zone. He's on the right side. Isaac has already thrown his shot left OB on the 9th. And Aaron's just another 40, 50 feet. And it might not seem like a big difference, but when he's able to go slow speed into these fast greens out here, it's all a difference in the world. He hammers the Buzz OS flat, right side, looks like it's going deep, checks up. He makes that putt. And at that point in the round, I don't know where he's at, but he's just straight up the guy to beat. Like he birdied the first 3, bogeys the 4th, and then gets 7, 8, and 9. 7, 8, 9 after Calvin gets the double. So Goose is just the man to beat. He lets his first putt go on the 12th from like 33 feet. It was really the only the first putt in the round he had dropped, and it was shallow C2, but he hits the cage there, and it's kind of his first signs of emotion, but he's still in control of the tournament. 13, very next hole, hits a shallow C2 putt and huge fist pump. He's carrying, I think he's got 3 strokes going into 14, Brian. That bounce back for me just kind of signaled that there's just really no way that he was going to let the tournament slip. He didn't have the putting yips. It was his day. His demeanor, the way that he sunk the 13th, the confidence that he had. He's strolling over to the 14th. It's starting to rain a little bit, and there's a little bit of wind, but that tee shot wasn't really giving people trouble. And mind you, I think he's got 3 strokes. yeah, he's got 3 strokes over Isaac Robinson. I think 4 over Calvin. And Goose slips, straight up slips on the tee pad of 14 and skies the shot, goes OB left. And I don't know if you saw this one, Brian, but Isaac Robinson pretty much shanks it, rolls it over right. It goes through the tree branches. It hits the trunk of the tree, goes in bounds. So Goose slips, goes OB, and then he sees his closest competitor hit the tree and just careem in bounds, like an impossible result. And then Isaac's very next shot, he shanks it OB left out of bounds, like completely misfires a layup. It hits the hill and magically rolls back in bounds. Okay, so mind you, Aaron has just now seen his closest competitor hit the tree, go in bounds, roll, go back in bounds. Aaron is walking up to his next shot, which I'm on the call for. It was actually absolutely my best moment of the whole week. It's so fun to get to call these shots live when they finally give me the opportunity. Producers in my ear saying, "Hey, this is all you. Like, tell us what's going on. Talk about the wind, talk about the rain." And I'm talking about the wind direction. And when Isaac threw, it was a little bit of a headwind right to left, which was actually a helping wind. When Calvin threw, it was also headwind right to left, which is going to help this shot lift up the hill and swing to the left. Calvin is so far away, hammers that Domi Quasar, and it lifts into that headwind and swings, and he essentially parks it, puts it 16 feet away. When Goose is lining up his tee shot, it's still headwind, or his fairway shot from where he went out of bounds. It's still headwind right to left. He's taking quite a bit of time, right? I'm calling it, and I'm letting the broadcast breathe, letting it breathe. I'm still waiting. He takes his lie back to give himself a better angle, right? So he goes like 25 feet back in the fairway, but it opens up the angle, puts the mini down. Then he goes to get his disc. Then he gets the radar gun. Like he's taking his time, right? And I don't have a problem with that. I don't think anyone really has a huge problem with that. It's a big moment in the round. He finally gets the shot, and all the while the wind has switched directions a little bit, Brian. It goes from head right to left to head left to right. So I'm calling that into the broadcast. I'm like, this is a big moment. It's switched from head left to right, which is going to hurt this disc. It's going to slam it down and keep it from swinging back to the left. And especially if it's on this big hyzer, right? It's just going to get on top of it and slam it down. And he had to throw hyzer. He's probably outside 400 feet, some rain drizzling down, all hyzer. He lets it rip, and the wind just gets on top of it, and it slams the disc down into the rock wall of the island. Hits off the rock wall, comes up short, and then all of a sudden, I'm hearing some commotion going on, and I'm seeing Goose and Brian Cole, one of the guys that works for the Disc Golf Pro Tour, a higher up. He was the floating marshal on that card, and Jeff Springs, CEO of the tour. They're walking up the sidewalk with Aaron, and he's like pretty upset. And turns out he got a time warning for taking his time on that shot. No big deal, but it really upset him, and he was expressing how he felt about receiving a time warning in that moment. He was telling them, "Hey, that's the biggest shot of the tournament. Like, why are you going to give me a warning there?" And it really got to him. And the very next thing that happened was he's walking up and he's like, "Oh, I'm out of bounds right here, right?" And they tell him, "Oh no, you go to the drop zone. You hit the rock wall." So Isaac and Calvin, come to find out, actually thought that he hit the rock wall and gets the drop zone putt, which is 50 feet into a headwind. Not really a makeable look, if you ask me, but it's possible, and certainly don't have to throw an approach. But as they get up there, spotter says, "You never hit the wall." And I saw him hit the rock wall. I called it in the air. I'm like, he hits the wall. He was almost on the island. It slammed down and it hit the ground and the wall at the same time. And the line is on the outside of the wall. So per the rules, he should get the drop zone look. And Isaac and Calvin are like, oh yeah, we thought it hit the wall. But the spotter is actually an official spotter on this hole, which means that he actually takes precedence over the vote of the card. This was at the USDGC on the 18th, and a tournament director can, I guess, get the approval on making a spotter an official for that hole, and they get the final say. And they do that because the spotter can be in some positions that get the best angle, right? Makes sense. I don't think he got that call correct. And I think it's because he was on the other side of the rock wall. Because if you go back and look on the network, it looks like Aaron hits the rock wall. But in the end, Brian, that's not what got under Aaron's skin. I think Aaron got flustered with the slip, and that kind of sparked the emotion. And then when he got called on the time warning, it just flipped a switch, and he never recovered. He never recovered. And I think there was a moment out there where I just felt like Aaron let the emotions derail his tournament, and it was a tough situation for him because he's in front of all the cameras. DGN is picking up a lot of what he's saying to them, and his body language is very clear that of how upset he was. And I felt like the worst thing that happened for Aaron was after he missed the putt for double. He gets a triple bogey. He slams the disc in the basket. That's fine. You know, he puts out a turn. That's not a big deal. That happens. But he, right after that, was continuing to express his frustration with Jeff Spring and Brian Cole while Calvin was trying to putt. So it was just like this elongated, like, you know, expression of anger, and it was very visible to all the spectators, everyone watching, and it was just slightly embarrassing, you know, because he just blew a fuse and was heated. And yeah, I do empathize with him, because that's a tough situation. You've got the tour championship on the line, and all of a sudden it feels like it's unraveling in front of you. And then it almost feels like, I don't know, you're getting picked on because you get a time warning, but it's just a weird situation. And it was a lot of drama, Brian. What did you see from that situation? What have you heard? What have you read? And what do you make of it?
Here's my first thing. What is stopping them from putting the rope on the inside of the rock wall?
That would solve a lot.
I think there might be some hole to poke in that.
Just all drop zone. Move the drop zone to like a toss, and
that's a hard thing to decipher, having the rope on the outside, because some of the rocks will overhang the rope. You know, some of the rocks are not perfectly straight up and down. They're not like bricks. So
yeah,
to me, you have the rope on the inside, all good. Then you cross over the island. That's the only way that you're going to be in. You hit the outside of the rock wall and stay out. To me, that sounds right. That sounds like how it should play. The rocks did their job. They blocked you from entering the island. But what I saw was, at least from the camera angle that we had, there's nothing else to possibly stop the disc from going forward other than the rocks. So if you hit the rocks, you're going to be in bounds, I think. But I don't know exactly what rock it hit, where the rope was in relation to that. We don't have an alternative camera angle.
Yeah.
So we'll never know. And, you see people online saying that he got hosed and blah, blah, blah. I don't care about that. I think this would have been solved if the rope went on the inside. All good. That's my little suggestion in the suggestion box.
Yeah.
In regards to the audio that I picked up, I understand. Well, I understand one thing, and that's the emotion that you go through as a touring player. We actually
Hmm.
have an interview coming up with Ben Callaway, and we're going to talk about exactly that because Ben has an announcement to make. But in regards to being a touring player that's not the best of the best of the best, you are grinding every single weekend to prove yourself. There's a brand you have to uphold. You have to entertain the people. You have to have this image. And when you're not satisfied with the way that you're playing, it can get really hard out there. And when you
Yeah.
finally feel like you have some control, and then in one hole, you lose that control and things are starting to go awry and you can't rein them in and control them, it's frustrating. And I understand that. I understand the feeling of being a player about to have this thing happen to you and have it taken away, quote unquote, taken away. I don't understand the speaking to people like that in the disc golf community in general. That's me. Relationships are everything. We're all doing this together. No one is evil trying to screw somebody over. Um, so that made me sad, but I do empathize with the emotions that run high out there. And there are certain times where you see red and you can't stop. And I've been there before as well. And you know, uh, he put on a hell of a show,
He
and
did.
it's sad that it ended the way it ended. But at the end of the day, he still had an opportunity to win the tournament. He got a 6 on hole 16, and Calvin got the birdie and took 3 strokes in one hole. So there were other
Yeah.
opportunities for him to get back on the horse and win the tournament. So it could have happened. But again, he's another one of these guys that has many years ahead of him. He's a great athlete. He's in great shape. Um, you don't really hear too much from him talking about injuries. It seems like there's going to be a lot of golf left in him. And like you said, if that putt just comes out with some consistent pace, the pop leaves him. The finger pop on that pitch putt goes away when he starts to get timid. It just kind of falls out of his hand. And you see it, instead of being like pure hard hyzer, it kind of comes out nose down and just flops under the basket. So I hope he
Yep.
figures it out. But not
Same.
everybody is perfect at everything in disc golf. Everybody's going to have a weakness. And I still think Aaron, with the way he puts now, can win a big tournament. I think he can give that to us. So good luck. And yeah, crazy finish to the tournament. Calvin put on an absolute heater of a finish. And what a season it was for him.
Yeah, it really was. And before I just wanted to finish on this Aaron note. Um, I I don't condemn Aaron in any way for what he did. I don't think anything was unforgivable out there. He made a mistake in letting the emotions kind of take over in that moment, and I just I understand it happens, and it was an embarrassing moment for him, but also you don't just make one mistake, and the disc golf community is going to be like, all right, you're toast, man. You got a little too heated out there, so I don't want to sit here and try and pretend like I haven't felt the emotions out there on the course. And I think that the saddest thing is that right away we knew that, or we had a strong feeling that there's no way he's going to be able to recover because of where he let the emotions take him. It was like, okay, he lost this tournament, even though he's tied with Isaac and Calvin's just one back or two back or whatever it was. We felt, and I definitely felt that Aaron had lost the tournament. Not because of just the strokes, but how was he going to bounce back from that? And he had the opportunity, but you could tell on the 16th that was a big part of it. His approach or his tee shot on 16 was like fluffed halfway He had another 100 feet he could have pushed it, and it really changed the dynamic of his second and his third and eventually his putt. So I'll close on that with Aaron. And really, we have to highlight the guy that walked through the door, because it felt like when Calvin bogeyed the 13th that it was kind of over for him. He had doubled the 7th and didn't play great in the middle stretch right there. But the bogey on 13 was, the 12th. It was the 12th where he just fluffed it, hyzered out left. It felt like it was over for him. And for him to do what he did on the 15th, he was the only guy, Brian, this final round. And mind you, there's 33 of the best players in the world. He was the only guy to take an eagle on the 15th. And he did it round 3 as well. He is hammering like the high 70s mile per hour, 78 miles per hour, hammering the shot on angle, flipping it out over the OB, and it's pushing, 525 or something. There's Bobby Cox on the catch cam right there, just moving just out of the way. And Calvin's disc didn't quite get to the flat. If it gets to flat up there, Brian, it's a different story. So he had this weird approach where he had to run up from the side. He did like a 2-step run up from the side, goes eagle, and it just gets around the tree. He cracks it hard on some Annie, overstable eagle. It kind of unravels, and then he hits like a 48-foot putt on 15 for eagle. I mean, he wrote his own story. Like, without that putt for eagle, it's Isaac and Aaron battling for it, and they don't have the same feeling going into the 16th. They don't have the momentum because everyone's going to take birdie on 15. Calvin's got the box on 16 because he just took an unbelievable eagle with 2 insane shots and a massive putt up the hill. And 16, we walk up the hill. We can see the storm in the background. It looks bad. Looks like it's going to dump on us at any moment. And it's ripping 20 plus miles per hour headwind. 16th, no one had birdied it all day. 30 people rolled through there. Now, no one carded a birdie. People are taking singles and doubles. Calvin hammers that overstable, domey driver and flips it over immediately. And it's headed straight for OB. Everyone knows it. This crowd is kind of gasping because it's like, oh, he just threw it OB. Like, it's over. And it just all of a sudden corrects, and it's riding out of bounds, and it gets back on hyzer, and it skips like 100 feet, and he is well into the landing zone. Like, he's past the birdie zone. He threw it again over 500 feet, slightly downhill, but into a strong headwind. And Isaac, Ezra, Aaron, they're all laying up. And Aaron lays up probably 400 feet short of where Calvin's at, maybe 300 feet, 350. So he has to throw a full shot, full power forehand to get to Calvin's second. And then Calvin just goes Draco flat, beautiful, masterful wind read, throws it flat. And the wind, it was head left to right, and it didn't let the disc ever get back on edge. So it just kind of moves from right to left, but stays flat and just kind of barely skips to like 16 feet. I mean, the hole was not really scoreable with the wind conditions.
It was a gorgeous
way
shot.
the green is, and the Draco just cruises into the circle. Aaron has another big shot, goes flick, decent wind read. It's at 20 feet. He misses that. Calvin makes it, and then Aaron misses his bullseye's edge putt. And when I talked to Calvin later, before I interviewed him, I was asking him, how it was, and I had asked him the day before if he felt any pressure, and he's like, "No, it's round 3. Didn't really feel any pressure." The way he replies, like, "No, I didn't really feel any pressure." Today he was like, "Well, 17, yeah, I really felt a lot of pressure." And from the outside in, you just can't tell. You can't read the guy. because he just grabs the rock 3 and just gets right up on the tee pad and
That's
just
what he threw?
commits. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's rock 3. It could be rock X3. It could be Rhino, but I'm pretty sure that it's one of those. It was into a slight headwind. He hits it hard. It didn't have a lot of glide, so I might be wrong there, but he hits it flat. And that is another maniacal green, the 17th. It's just what they're asking them to do. It's just so small. The green is so small for
Pretty absurd.
that distance. Yeah, it's almost a little too much. It feels like there's a little bit of luck involved with, like, hey, did you hit the willow tree? Did it slow you down? Like, did you hit a root? Did you roll backwards? It's not a bad hole. I'm not going to call it a bad hole. It's just a maniacal green and a little excessive on how small it is. And but that's what he likes to do. That's Heinold likes to do that on 17, and what it guarantees are swings and tension. So I'll give him that. It puts on a good show. So he throws that pink clear champion plastic disc flat. It's drifting, catches a little bit of the willow, slows it down, but it could have been safe either way. Beautiful shot. He's a 15-footer, and it's game over. It's game over. He had three on Goose, and maybe 3 or 2 on Isaac. Isaac comes up a hair short with the harp, and he's sitting dry, but in the OB, and Aaron puts it at 40 feet, misses the putt, and started prepping for the Calvin interview. Started looking. I think this was his 20th top 10 of the season.
Mm-hmm.
People play their whole careers don't get 20 top 10. He got the 20th top 10 this season, Brian. He finished outside the top 10 twice. 2 times. That's legit. He finished outside of the top 10 twice this year, Brian. He had 20 top 10s, not even counting like match play. I'm looking at his year. Look at his year with me and make sure I'm not just BSing. He finished 28th at Croco and 13th at the MVP. And he did not finish out of the top 10. Match play doesn't count. He did not finish out of the top 10. That is mind-blowing.
But that's what he does. That's what he's done for so many years. And
this is
I don't know.
His best season?
I would say it's up there, but I think he got wins that he's most proud of in this season. I mean, the win at the major in Estonia was a career achievement, hitting the 50-footer in front of all the thousands of people. That's top of the top, I would have to assume. This one's kind of a weird one because it feels like a major, but there's the stroke advantages, but he also wasn't the leader in stroke advantages going into the tournament. So, Gannon Buhr completely blundered his stroke advantages. So I think if we're going to say best season, my opinion, not being in Calvin Heimburg's shoes, yes, this was his best season. Yeah. He got the most impactful wins of his career, and he, again, barely broke outside the top 10 in a field where top 10 is a pretty big achievement. Yeah, great finish. Nate, before we jump into this interview with Ben Callaway, what other words do you have reflecting on this week?
It was my last round of the year that I worked, and yeah, bittersweet because it's fun to be out here and to get to be a part of these moments, to interview Calvin. And yeah, I got, I'm asking Calvin, it's like, hey, you could have been a chemical engineer. Do you think you make the right choice being a professional disc golfer? And the dude's like, he's got to be a millionaire. I mean, his contract with Innova, and just he made $100,000 last year and this year, and it got to be selling a just infinite amount of destroyers, right? And dude's just killing it, and it's so cool to see someone commit to this game and be rewarded. And yeah, it's just fun to share or to be a part of those moments. And all the guys we work with out here on the Disc Golf Network, it's just like it's like a little family. It's like your second family out here. So we had a big dinner with Jeff and Dominic and all the guys at the Disc Golf Network and the Disc Golf Operations, the Pro Tour Operations crew, and they're all good friends of mine. And yeah, it's just kind of like the big hoorah, right? A big goodbye, and see you next year, maybe if we run it back. So yeah, there's some emotion there, and yeah, and I'm also, I miss home. Being out here is also a sacrifice. So kind of ready to get back home. And yeah, tour championship it's a different one, but at the end of the day, $30K for first place, like that's incredible. And there's a lot to celebrate there with where disc golf's at. I had some cool conversations this week with some of the higher ups about uh, some potential exciting partnerships in the future, and just where we're headed. It feels like there's a lot of people focused on the same thing, just kind of growing it and keeping this momentum that we feel we got this year. And yeah, there's no great way to close out a full season, and I'm thankful we got some more pods to kind of reflect on the year, because there's not enough time here. What is it? It's 11. No, it's midnight. Midnight. That's crazy, Brian. That checks out. I'm exhausted. So there's no great way to button up the full year. But what the tour does with this championship and it being the biggest payout is legit. I think it legitimizes what we're doing, and this is just so sweet for the players to have an opportunity to come cash in like this and be rewarded for the commitment to this tour. What do
Well,
you got,
a
dude?
player that has,
It's midnight
well,
for
Nate,
you too.
we got some more pods coming up. I'm exhausted. This is about the most exhausted I have been in a very long time. I have been more stressed out about my life than I've been in a very long time. But I was very much looking forward to doing this show with you, and also with a good friend of ours, Ben Callaway, who is announcing some kind of sad news. He is retiring from touring disc golf. He put in 5 good seasons from 2021 to 2025, and he is going to call it quits. He's got some more news to share with us. Let's throw it to the interview with Ben right now and hear what he has to say. Joining me now is a very good friend of mine, someone that I go way back with in the world of disc golf. I have been lucky enough to kind of tour alongside of him, play a lot of practice rounds, some tournament rounds with this guy. Ben Callaway joins the podcast. Ben, it's a kind of a bittersweet meeting today. You have some news that you wanted to break to the disc golf world, and I think it's been kind of building up over this season. I've talked to you kind of earlier in the year, but for those listening to the podcast, what do you have to say, and what's the news?
Basically, I'm not announcing a full retirement, but I will be stepping away from full-time touring, probably indefinitely from here on out. My wife and I, before I went on tour, we agreed that this was going to be a 5-year plan, and this is the 5th and final year. And when the final year came, that the only way that I could continue full-time touring is if I was financially able to support myself on tour and my family at home, to where they did not, my wife did not have to work. Unfortunately, that is not the case. I can afford to be on tour. I can afford to pay some bills, but I cannot afford to be out here and then also not be home with my family. Because the one thing that I'm not getting is time back with them. My daughter is now 8 years old, and when I first went on tour, she was a small child. She didn't even understand the concept of time. So when daddy was gone, she was just like, oh, daddy's back. But now she's old enough to understand that, I've been gone for weeks, months, and I've missed so many things with her. And she is now really realizing that, which is harder. So the decision is obviously hard because I still enjoy playing competitive disc golf. I'll continue to do that, just on a much smaller scale. Um, and then one other reason that, on top of making this decision, is my wife and I are expecting. We're expecting a second child.
Yay!
Yeah. The baby will be born in March of 26. We don't know if it's a boy or a girl yet. We're going to be finding out in about a week, 1 week from when this airs. So that's
Ben,
exciting news.
first off, congratulations, my friend. And I remember in the beginning, I was so excited to see you out there because that was going to be, I think that was like my final year touring was 2021. And that was kind of the first full year of you getting after it, essentially.
Yeah, 2021 was the first year.
And so we were kind of crossing paths at two big moments in our lives. I was transitioning into media. I knew I had to make a decision between playing and commentary, and you were doing the exact opposite. And you and Sarah had talked, and I remember you joking and saying, "Yep, she's given me 5 years to chase this and see what happens." And I'd love to hear from you. Over the course of those 5 years, it wasn't puppies and rainbows for you. You've always been a phenomenal player, but learning to live on tour and be out here full time is such a grind no matter who you are. I'd love to hear about these 5 years and kind of the ups and downs and the goods and bads from that time.
To be honest, the first year was probably as difficult as it was. It was probably the most prepared I was going on tour because I had money saved up. I had plans on where I was going to be staying. People that I had, already made plans with for the year, and my wife and I, we even had a situation where if I had to sleep in my car, I could sleep in my car. I had a full little kit where I can make breakfast and coffee and all this just out of my car. So the first year was probably the easiest, and then obviously I had a pretty decent breakout year, so I was doing quite well, taking some top tens, making some feature cards and things like that. And I was also able to link up with a couple of Discraft guys that were staying in some RVs where I was able to stay with them. To be honest, it felt easy. It really did, but it wasn't. It wasn't as easy as I thought it was going to be, being away from home. That was definitely one of the hardest parts. Just being able to be a professional disc golfer on the road, but then also remembering that I have a family at home and that I need to make sure that I give them the attention that they need as well. I can't just be out here living my life like as if they don't exist. So balancing that out was definitely a challenge. The second year and the third year were a little harder. After that first year, I had made the elite team for 2022, and I felt like I was just riding on a high, and I thought I was just going to keep on riding it. And 2022 was just a brick wall. I had a terrible year and did not play well. And then ultimately that year led to me being put back onto the tour team, which is the step below elite team, which was a huge. It was a humbling experience, to be honest, because to reach the goal that you wanted, and then only for it to be taken away from you. Well, not taken away. I didn't play well. It's really that simple. I didn't earn it, and So 2023, it was like kind of like another breakout year. Like I'm playing pretty well, and I thought maybe I could make my stance again to make the elite team, but it wasn't good enough, unfortunately. And with that, traveling was just traveling on the road is such a grind and can be such a nightmare.
Yep.
Like traveling from hotel to Airbnb to, living out of a suitcase, just packing up and moving on to the next one. It just, you really start to miss home hard. And all these people that are on the road doing what we're doing, and anybody who's on the pro tour, they understand that it's not fun. Like you really have to love what you're doing a lot to keep going. And a part of me was, pretty excited in that 2023 year because I was playing pretty well, and I thought maybe, I could probably make a statement again and try to work my way back up to elite status. And obviously I didn't make that elite team for the 2024, nor did I make it for this year in 2025. But if there's one thing that I've definitely learned is that I've put myself in this box where everything comes down to like how well I'm playing, and I'm not even paying attention to really like anything else, which is that's a pretty slippery slope to put yourself in, because if you're not playing well, then you're just kicking yourself.
Then who
every
are
time
you?
Exactly.
No worse.
I'm just sitting here like, if I'm not a good professional disc golfer, then what am I even doing? Like,
Wow.
Why am I here? Like, why? And there's been a few moments where especially in this last year, where I was just, I don't know, I just I feel burnt out. And a part of me was actually looking forward to just being done in this final year and being able to go home, see my wife, see my daughter, our newborn that's going to be born soon here. I don't want to say that I'm happy that I'm not playing competitive disc golf anymore, because I still do. I still want to play, but at the same time, I feel like what is best for me is taking this step back, because the love of I played disc golf in the very beginning because of how much I loved it. The people that I got to meet, people such as yourself, everyone here on the tour, the man sitting next to me, and I lost the love, I feel like. And all it became then is just a job, and I'm just playing for a paycheck. And I don't know. I don't think that's just not what I want. So,
I completely understand. And Ben, I'm not going to let it end on this note, because I know in the back of your head, there is an obsessive lover of this game. We met tossing an Ultra Star back and forth at Sinisippi Park way back in the day. You were wearing like the backwards flat brims, tucking your hat in, or tucking your ears into your hat. I'll never forget that, Ben Callaway. And I'll never forget the love you had for the game. So what I'm going to ask you is to reflect on the times.
What year was that, Brian?
2011, maybe?
2011.
Something like, it was like you and Mike Robinson, MDR.
Mm-hmm.
We were playing catch out there at Mississippi. But anyway, I want you to reflect on the positive times. What moments on tour, whether obviously we know the win at Crokel is probably going to be number one, but what other moments stick out to you as triumphant moments that put you on cloud nine? Because there is a lot of bliss being out there on the road. I know it's hard. I've experienced it. Perks has experienced it. But there are moments that you'll never forget. What are those moments?
Well, obviously the breakout year that I had in 2021, and making a lot of these lead cards and feature cards, and like just feeling that high of like, I finally made it. I'm here. And then obviously in 2022, making the elite team, like that was always a goal. That was always a dream of mine. And, being on Discraft for 14 years now, which is insane to say.
Yep.
You know,
14.
14 years. Yeah, 14 years I've been on Team Discraft.
Wow.
To finally make that elite team, like that made me like that was just another wonderful wonderful moment to have. And then in 2022, in that year, I took my first top 10 at a Worlds, and probably actually any major. So that was a huge high for me.
Was that Emporia Worlds?
That was Emporia Worlds, yeah.
Wow.
And then obviously winning my local A tier.
The
Back
Rumble.
home called the Rumble.
The Rumble.
Dude, that
Everyone loves the
was
Rumble.
oh my gosh, winning that tournament meant, I'm not gonna lie to you, it's hard for me to put which one it means more to me than, I know it's gonna sound crazy, but Krokel and that one, like they're like neck and neck with number one for me.
Who'd you have to beat at that one? Was Kale?
Yeah, Kale was there.
Kale's playing good at that one.
Andrew Presnell and I went into a playoff on hole 1.
He's hard to beat at those tournaments.
Yeah. I can't remember everybody that was there, but there was quite a few players. But man, yeah, just being able to win my local A tier was just a huge notch on the belt.
It's a tough one to win.
It was hard to win. I mean, everybody would come to that tournament. I mean, I can't remember how many times Paul won it. Probably three times. Macbeth, he's won it. Adam Hammis has won it. Alex Geisinger's come close.
Didn't you just play against? Was Paul Kranz playing high level? That one?
Yeah, that was actually that was just last year.
That was last year.
Yeah,
and that was the Rumble, right?
Yeah, that was the Rumble.
You guys left the field behind.
Yeah, he beat me by 1 stroke on the final hole. Yeah, it was actually crazy because that was he had 3 strokes with 3 holes to play, and he thought he had it in the bag. And on hole 16 or 15, I aced. He pars down to 1 stroke. We go birdie, and then I have to, I birdie 18 or die, and we both par it, unfortunately, and he won by 1 stroke on the final hole. God, that was insane.
Ben, I have a rumble memory, and I want to see if you remember this.
Probably.
My younger brother Tom is a bit of a troll. You've played with Tom before, and I forget what hole it was. It was a pretty infamous hole out there at Westlake, and it sounds like from what Tom says, you were having a bad day out there. you were having a rough day, and Tom is like, Ben, I like your handwriting. Can you sign this XL for me?
I just signed it without hesitation.
He still has
I genuinely thought he wanted it. Does he really? I had no idea what he was doing at that moment. Like when I'm playing, it's so hard for me to, like, if someone's trying to troll me, I am so focused on what I'm doing in the moment. I don't even recognize it half the time. So if he was trying to troll me, I had no idea. I thought maybe he genuinely just liked my autograph, and I was like, "Yeah, I'll sign your autograph."
Well, you do have one of the best signatures in disc golf, so that's undisputed. You're right up there with like Double G and like Germ. There's some gorgeous signatures out there. AJ, Avery Jenkins, but I want to keep this moving because you went out here and you said you had some top 10s, but Ben, you were also in the mix to win multiple Elite Series events and even Worlds before you got that first win at Krokel. What battles that you came up short at stick out in your memory?
Obviously JomezPro.
Yeah.
That's coming up short there. Well, I won it this year. Obviously, it was an A tier, not the Elite Series, but there was still a stacked field. But those 2 years where I came in second, especially 2023, that was, or was it 24? Yeah, 24. Yeah. 24 was rough.
The one that AB.
Yeah,
when
AB.
On 18,
yeah,
you just flattened your tee shot out.
Just flattened it out. Just never gave it the height. Never gave it the good angle, and just went straight OB, and that was it.
Hang on.
So didn't you have to spit out that day too?
Yeah, I did.
On the island.
Not on the island. It was
old hole 1.
Yeah, old hole 1.
Oh,
so like 10 or 11.
That's right.
It was like bullseye's edge. He had like 20-mile-an-hour headwind, and he had a uphill putt. Yeah. But Ben, the shot that kills me from that final stretch was you pulled out that money run of ESP Pred on the second shot on hole 17, right before that final hole that you lost on. You threw the most beautiful wind read I've ever seen. It was such a committed shot. You threw it dead flat. It flew dead straight. You trickled deep OB by like 6 inches. And that cost you the stroke going into the final hole that made you say you had to go for it. And I'm not going to lie, my heart broke a little bit because the shot looked so good. And I like ran up there to go see. And it was like, oh God. Oh, no. But, you know, it's like everyone knows how young AB is and how much career is ahead of him, you know. But in sports, you want to see someone who's grinded for years get one. You know, we all know AB is going to go on to win many, many titles. You know, he's going to define disc golf in the next decade. I wanted a Ben Callaway victory because I know his wife gave him 5 years. He has a small window to try to win that tournament in. But Ben, any other battles, any other tournaments stick out to you besides Crokel?
Oh gosh, that I've come close with. I mean, Maple Hill sticks out. I've been in Maple Hill a couple times and been on lead card final day. To not be able to pull that one off was pretty frustrating. I mean, like I didn't perform that well on the final day. That's the only thing that is. That's why I probably don't remember it as well. But and then obviously I think it was this year. Yeah, Champions Cup. I was in the mix for Champions Cup this year. My first lead card final day at a major. I feel like I had a pretty solid opportunity. Anybody really did to win that event. The thing that was very interesting about Champions Cup, like I personally thought that it would go so much slower, like the pace of play and just like the moments I thought would be a lot slower. It wasn't. It went by really quick, and when I looked at my caddy, next thing I know, we're already on hole 9, and I'm down by 4 or 5 strokes or whatever it was. I don't remember exactly, but that was definitely a very interesting experience. Just to be like on the lead card at a major final day. You know, everyone thinks that it's just going to go by so super slow because of just cameras and the spectators and just everything like that. But it went by so quick. And I kind of wish that, well, not wish, but obviously if I remember in that position again, like now I know, like I would have definitely probably thrown some things a little bit different, taken my time with some different shots on the front, because I definitely took my time more on the back once I realized like how quickly this round is going. It was very interesting.
And then Ben, I remember a couple years ago, we were at JomezPro, funny enough, and you pretty much told me like, "Hey man, I'm burnt. I'm ready to be done. I'm fried." And I think I grabbed you by the shoulder or something, and I'm like, "You're not going home until I get to talk to you on the green of 18 somewhere. This is non-negotiable." Yeah. And it didn't happen exactly how we wanted to, but one of the most bizarre moments of my commentary career happened when you won the tournament at Crokel. But I want to hear it from your perspective. Talk about that victory. Talk about coming down the stretch and the playoff, everything.
To be honest, I wasn't as nervous as I thought I was going to be starting the tournament, because like hole 1, everyone was saying how hard that hole was to birdie, and I birdied it 2 out of the 3 rounds, and I missed a circle's edge putt for my birdie, and so I started out pretty strong there, and didn't have the greatest next 4 holes. I think I ended up with a par. I had to play for bogey on hole 3, but I birdied the next hole after that, so I was like, okay, we're doing well. But then I had a spit out on hole 5 or 6, and that, I mean, it wasn't disheartening for me, because spit outs are obviously a part of the game. They suck, right? Because they can make or break. But I just knew that I told my caddy from the very beginning, I said, here's what we're going to do. I'm gonna go for. I'm gonna be as aggressive as I have been all week. I'm not going to change my tee shots. If I have the opportunity to score from the fairway, I'm taking it. If I don't, we're laying up. I told him that, like, and I stuck to that game plan all weekend long. So through the middle stretch was okay, not great. I was feeling all right. The putter was definitely on the entire day. So that was a saving grace. When I was coming up to when I think what is it, hole 15, is it that par 3 or 14? I can't remember exactly. But there was a putt where I had to make a birdie from like down the hill, going uphill, and Lowry just missed his putt. And I was like, if I can make this momentum shift, like, let's go. Cash that putt, birdie the next hole. And then I don't know why, but the par 5 has the par 5 on the back nine was giving me trouble all week off the tee. I did not have a good disc for that tee shot. I don't know why. I was throwing this stable Athena, and I was just like, just give it the flat. Just give it the flat shot. It'll hyzer out. It'll be perfect.
Gave me a heart attack, Ben.
Yanked it straight OB. That's awesome. So I'm like, I don't know what to do from here. I have a terrible lie.
It's like almost a re-tee.
It almost felt like a re-tee, but luckily they have a drop zone. So you play from the FPO tee from there. I'm like, all right, I've never played from here before. Didn't think I would ever have to practice this. So I just threw my second shot, had to lay up from there because I didn't throw a good enough shot from the drop zone. So then I had to play for bogey. I'm like, all right, that sucks. But I played it well, considering. And like I told my caddy, I was like, if I have the opportunity, we're going to score. And if not, we're just going to take for what it is. Very next hole, obviously momentum is in Lowry's favor. He throws it straight OB. Never had a chance. And I'm like, whoa. I've been sticking this green all week long. I have this zone that I just picked up this year. It's working great. I'm like, if I can get this close, like it might not be game over, but I'm like, I could probably finish par and win this tournament. I parked the hole. I threw it very wide, by the way. A little wider than I wanted. Yeah, I know you did. I know you saw. I threw it way wider than I wanted it to be. But it was perfect. Like, as soon as I knew it was going to hyzer, and I didn't think it was going to be that close to the right, but when it hyzered in, I was like, all right, here we go. This is great. And then next hole, 17. This is where nerves started coming into play. I don't know why, but I was just so nervous to throw this tee shot. It was a headwind, OB left and right, and I had struggled with it the previous day, and I just told myself, just throw it flat. That's all you need to do. Throw this disc flat. Didn't commit to it at all. And
nope.
Apparently, now I don't know this because I haven't watched any of the post coverage. I've only watched highlights.
Yeah.
I don't like watching post coverage of me at all. I hate it. I can't stand it. Apparently, I got the best kick ever off of a tree.
So good.
Maybe of all time.
And it rolled back in bounds. I was not aware of that. I knew that it hit a tree. But I was not aware that it hit that tree and rolled like 4 feet back in bounds. So when that happened, I was like, all right, that's awesome. Great momentum shift. And I was thinking, if I can just stick this island, like, that's game over. The tournament's over. Hole 18 is a hole that I felt very confident on, obviously. And if I can just stick this island, game's over. It was a little bit of an uphill run up, and my forehand isn't like the most trusted shot in my game. I have been working on it, but like the uphill with the moment and the wind, I sawed it off completely and never even gave it a chance, and straight OB. And I'm just like, great. Now I'm bringing in, at that point, I had not looked at scores. I had an idea, and I knew like generally where everybody was, but I didn't know anything about second card or third card. So as soon as I threw it OB, I looked at my caddy and I said, what do I need to do? Because I need to know where I'm at now. And he goes, you need to birdie hole 18. And I said, okay, let's go do it. Stepped up to hole 18 and just threw my shot like I did in all the holes after that. Threw my shot, threw my second shot, and then my upshot. At this point, I'm not really feeling any nerves, though. That's what's weird. I'm not feeling any nerves. I throw my shot, and it almost went in, which was actually kind of surprising. I wasn't trying to throw it in. And then I parked it, and then I come to find out that it's a 3-way playoff. Wow. And the nerves like set up a little bit after I made the putt and I found I was going into a playoff. Like the nerves were a little up there. At that point, I wasn't aware of what holes we would be playing for the playoff. I had no idea. And when they announced that it was just going to be hole 18 on repeat, as soon as they said that, I snapped into this zone that I've never been able to tap into in my life. And I did not leave that until I made my final putt and Kuba missed his. Like it was a zone that I couldn't, I don't know. It was very interesting. It was almost an out of body experience.
5 birdies in a row. And after I think the second hole, Esa Pekatupula whispers to me, I actually have to leave and go do this gig. I have to go play the trombone, Brian. And he like quietly leaves the studio. And I'm by myself watching you in this zone playing some of the best golf of your life. And I couldn't be happier for you, man. You got to win at one of the coolest courses in the entire world. And after all these years of grinding out there on the tour, playing regionally, I mean, like you said, you've been with Discraft for 14 years. You know, you've been playing professional disc golf for a while. I tip my cap to you, my friend. And frankly, as somebody who also knew when it was time and then pulled the trigger, I hope you feel the same clarity that I felt when I did it. Any other words that you have to say to the people? Any other words you have to say about the last 5 years out here on the tour?
I just the love and support that I have gotten from so many people that I've never met before, that have become fans, friends. I just want to say thank you to all those people. You're the reason. You're one of the biggest reasons that I got to stay on tour. I would also like to thank my sponsors, Discraft, for putting the trust in me and giving me the opportunities that they have, being on and supporting me that they have been for these last 5 years. It's been amazing. I just also want to say, I want to say thanks to all the wonderful people that I've met on tour. It's been a very interesting 5 years. And gosh, sorry.
I'll give you a second. I got to say, there are a lot of people I've talked to in the world of disc golf that are like, oh, it'd be so cool to do what you were doing, but, you know, I have kids. Or, oh, it'd be so cool to do what you guys are doing, but I'm 32 and, you know, I whatever, my time's passed. Your time didn't pass, and you pulled the trigger on something that I think a lot of people would have thought was crazy. And I think there's a lot of stories like that in disc golf. And that's why I enjoy talking to all of you, because every one of us that gave our life to this game in regards to making it a career have a different reason as to why. But I think, like you said, even though the tour can sometimes squash you and make it feel like it's just a job and that you're questioning why you're even out here, you know why you are out there. And right. You know why you love this game. And Ben, I hope to see you soon, my friend. Good luck with everything. Congratulations to you and Sarah. Yeah, sorry. I'm going to be unofficial uncle. I'm just going to name myself that. So I'm going to come by and crack a couple terrible jokes in front of your kids, and you know, we'll make it a thing.
That sounds great.
Well, I'm going to chime in here just a moment, because I think I met you, Ben, 2017 Titan, maybe at
Titan. That sounds right.
Yeah, at the Wild. Wildcat Bluff.
Wildcat Bluff.
Yeah, Wildcat Bluff. And just the smoothest player I think I had seen since I started touring. But the thing that stuck out to me most is there's some people that you just connect with right away and you don't know why. And for us, it was just like right away. And it's just remained that. Like when I see you, we both just have this big smile and we just embrace every time. It's a great hug. And I think some people just exude that kindness and that light. And you've always been one of those people to me out there on the road. And I think a lot of people feel that way about you. And I think what Brian said is the next thing that I want to double down on is you had been playing for so long before this. Like you didn't just find the game and say, "Oh, I want to try and go do this." Like you had been playing professional tournaments for a long time and you had friends that were out there on the road already giving it a shot. And so you already had a good idea of what it was like out there and how small of a chance there really is for like this big reward. And yet you already had a family and you still chose to make this sacrifice and to try and live out this dream. And I just have to agree with Brian. I think that's such a beautiful thing. It's one of the beautiful parts of our game that won't always be around, right? In the future, someone might be making millions of dollars playing this game, and you made the sacrifice and you delivered, man. You won a tournament, but more than that, you made a name for yourself and you connected with people around the globe. You made fans around the globe and you spread your kindness and you spread your passion for the game everywhere. And so I've always been an admirer of yours to have a family back home and to be out here staying dedicated to your craft, which is the tippy top form that's possible. Like you got to a point with your craft that a lot of people might not ever get to. So it's just been great to witness you over the years, man, and to call you a friend. And to Brian was in the booth, right? He was in the booth, but I actually was on the ground and got to share in that moment with you and got to ask you about your family and get you to crack and cry in front of the world. Ben, I love you. And it's so great to sit here and listen to you reminisce about your moments on the road, because it's been such a joy to witness it.
Thank you, Nate. I appreciate that, man.
Ben, we'll let you go, but this is, again, not the last time we're going to see you. It's not like you're going away to college or anything. We're just never going to see you again. You're going to be playing some disc golf, and we wish you the best, my friend. Thanks for joining us, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it. This has been wonderful.
Mwah!
Oh, Lord.
Wait a second. Is this Ben Callaway's final tap in? So what are you processing right here, Ben?
I'm processing, I can't believe I'm about to tap this in for a double bogey for 6 over par for my final round ever in the Pro Tour. Yep, there it is. And
the bag
on putt from
He's like, I'm done, dude.
I'm out. Look at me. I'm like, I'm out. Get me out of here. Get me out of here, bro.
Would you have driven home tonight if you didn't commit to the pod, or what was the plan?
Oh yeah, I definitely would have driven home for sure. If I had not committed to this, I would have been like in the car.
We
gone.
kept him in Lynchburg one more night, Brian.
And we had technical difficulties getting started. See you later, Ben.
We did.
Later, B.
I could not be more proud of Ben for doing something that I think he very easily could have just thrown in the trash, said it was a terrible idea, never tried. And instead, he got to travel coast to coast. He got to travel overseas and play the game that he loved. And now it's time for the next chapter. So we wish you the best of luck, Ben. The season is almost over, Nate. I mean, it's over for you and it's actually over for me. I'm not calling the match play anymore, I don't think. I'm going to be focused on my house stuff here, taking some time off to kind of focus on my own life, my family, and everything like that. So I guess when it comes to DGN, it's over. But we got more podcasts coming up, Nate. And I think with these off weeks leading up to match play, we got some fun stuff in store. Send us an email, abnbpod@gmail.com. What off-season stuff do you want us to dig into? Me and Nate have some ideas up our sleeve. We got a couple of cool shows coming up towards the holidays that we'll announce very soon. And yeah, Nate, we got to wrap this up. It's late. I'm tired. You're tired. Good night, folks. We'll see you next time.